Hello everyone, welcome back to Believer Science Academy Bangalore. This is the daily news analysis. Today we'll discuss important articles from UPSC prelims, mains and interview perspective. So the first article for 9th October 2025 is from the front page of Hindu. That is India UK Trade Pact, a launch pad for growth. What is the context? Prime Minister of UK Keir Starmer is visiting India and it is his first official visit to India since he has taken the Prime Ministership of UK. So, on his first visit to India, PM Keir Starmer hailed the new India-UK Free Trade Agreement as the biggest deal since Brexit. The pact, which is part of the Comprehensive Economic Strategic Partnership Vision 2035, aims to boost cooperation in trade, technology, defense, energy, education, and people-to-people ties. So, very significant agreement between two important countries, that is India and UK. What is the key features of FTA? Duty-free access on 99.1% of UK tariff lines, covering almost all trade immediately. Okay, so duty-free without any tariffs, we will be able to trade across two countries. Expected to rise bilateral trade by approximately 25.5 billion pounds annually. Tariff cuts on major products such as textiles, whiskey and automobiles, they have witnessed tariff cuts, whereas USA is increasing tariffs. Then seen as a post-Brexit opportunity for UK and a new export market for India. So it is a win-win situation for both India and UK. So business and investment. Starmer led a 100-member trade delegation of business and university leaders, which is a significant number of trade delegates who are coming to India. So even Prime Minister Modi has hailed this as a significant event or moment in India-UK relations. Rolls-Royce has recently announced plans to expand manufacturing and R&D in India to support Viksit Bharat 2047, and Rolls-Royce has already started a development center for aerospace in Bangalore already. And add to this, they are focusing on expanding the manufacturing and research and development in India. India's Piyush Goyal met UK Business Secretary Peter Kyle to fast track the pact's operationalization. So everything is going smoothly. We have to wait and see. Cultural cooperation, that is, Starmer visited Eshraj Film Studios in Mumbai. 3 Bollywood films will be soon shot in the UK, highlighting growing creative industry ties. Next, visa issues. Starmer also clarified that visa liberalization is not part of the FTA, noting no changes in the current policies, which is a significant hurdle in India-UK relations. Recently, the new visa regulations were brought by the UK, and also recently immigration laws brought by UK, where India was added into the list of those countries whose members will be first transported or deported back to the country before verifying them. So India is on the worst list of immigrants to UK. So that has not been addressed, and Starmer said that it is only we are discussing only about the free trade agreement, not relations to visa. So that is one of the drawback or hurdle between India and UK relations. Significance for India: new export access, technology inflow, and global trade leverage. And for UK, expands market beyond Europe and strengthens its Indo-Pacific presence. So both has some advantages for both the countries. So conclusion: the India-UK Trade Pact is more than just a deal. It is a strategic launchpad for shared economic growth, deepening trust between two major democracies in a challenging global order. Okay, very important article. Next, another article from the front page of Hindu, which talks about 2025 Nobel Prize in Chemistry, which is bridging metals and organics. So the 2025 Nobel Prize in Physics and Physiology or Medicine has already been announced recently. In Physiology, it was awarded for peripheral immune tolerance, and in Physics, it was awarded for quantum tunneling and circuit quantization. Okay, now in Chemistry, it has been awarded to Richard Robson of Australia, Sumu Kitagawa of Japan, and Omar Agachi of Jordan and American. Okay, these are the 3 persons. Omar Yagi, University of California, USA, and Richard Robson, University of Melbourne, Australia, and Sumu Kitagawa, who is from Kyoto University, Japan. They share the prize of 11 million Swedish kroner, which is approximately 1 crore rupees, for discovering and developing metal organic framework. So their discovery is about metal organic framework, a new class of materials that combine metal atoms and organic molecules. Okay, so what are these MOFs? MOFs are crystalline structures made by linking metal ions with organic compounds to form porous sponge-like networks. So they can trap, store and release gases and molecules, be tailored for specific purposes through rational design, and work like molecular sponges or even artificial lungs. So that is the significance of their discoveries. So how the discovery world? Richard Robson in the 1970s was first person who conceived MOF-like structures while experimenting with the metal organic bonds. He formed spacious but unstable crystals. Okay, he was the pioneer in this discovery. And then Susumu Kitagawa in the 1990s developed porous and flexible frameworks, proving that gases could flow in and out like breathing materials. Okay, that materials can go in and out of this particular MOFs, like breathing materials, how we are able to breathe through lungs, which where it takes air or wind inside and again it leaves also wind outside. That is what is happening in this MOF as well. Then Homer Agee in the 2000s stabilized MOFs and created varieties that could extract water from desert air and store carbon dioxide. So all the three were involved in development of these MOFs from the theoretical level to practical uses. So that is why they have been awarded with the Nobel Prize for Chemistry. Today, thousands of MOFs are used or being developed for carbon capture and climate solutions, water harvesting in arid regions, filtering toxic PFAS chemicals from water, and breaking down environmental pollutions. So you can just see the significance of their discoveries, especially from fight against climate change or environmental protection. Okay, so the significance is MOFs are considered a revolution in material chemistry, bridging the gap between metals, which is rigid in nature, and organics, which is flexible in nature, long thought was impossible. So they represent the next frontier in AI-driven molecular design, sustainable technology, and environmental cleanup. So that is the significance of MOFs, and that is this year's Nobel Prize for Chemistry. Next, an editorial from the Hindu which talks about the danger of unchecked pre-crime framework. What is the context? The article critiques India's preventive detention regime, arguing that it has drifted far from the constitutional morality and the principles of liberty, fairness, and due process. It draws parallels with Steven Spielberg's Minority Report, where people are punished for crimes not yet committed, mirroring how preventive detention undermines the fundamental rights. What is preventive detention? Detention of a detainee even before the offense is committed. What is punitive? Punitive detention happens when the offense is already committed, when the action is already been done. So there are two types of detention, both preventive and punitive. So in India, the constitution provides for both punitive as well as preventive detention in Article 23. Okay, so the constitutional background. So Article 22. In the Article 22 Clause 3(7) permits preventive detention, allowing imprisonment without trial, making an exception to the Article 21, that is right to life and liberty. And even in Article 22, it talks about punitive detention as well. In punitive detention, a person can be detained for a maximum period of 24 hours before he has to be produced before magistrate. He can be arrested or detained beyond 24 hours only with the support or only with the permission of magistrate. But in Article 22 itself, it talks about preventive detention, that a person can be detained without giving any reasons behind his arrest, and he can be kept in arrest or in detention for 3 years, beyond which requires advice of advisory council, which will be headed by a person who is a high court judge or who is capable of becoming a high court judge. Okay, so these are some of the constitutional background for preventive detention in Indian constitution. The author calls these provisions a Bermuda Triangle of India's constitution, that is, liberty, equality, and due process vanish here. Though intended for extraordinary circumstances like wartime threats like terrorist or threats. These powers are now being used routinely by state under the broad laws like Kerala Anti-Social Activities Act of 2006 or 2007, that is CAPA, or UAPA, and also National Security Act, that is NSA. So all these acts provide for preventive detention. So key Supreme Court judgments. Dhanya M versus State of Kerala 2025. Supreme Court struck down detention under CAPA, stating preventive detention must be used sparingly and not as a substitute for prosecution or denial of bail. In SK Nazinan case of 2023, preventive detention cannot be used for mere law and order issues. It applies only to public order threats. Okay. Then in Rekha versus State of Tamil Nadu 2011, preventive detention is an exception to Article 21 and must be used only in the rare cases. That is what Supreme Court has said in various cases. But what is being done in reality? It is being used as if it is any other detention, as if it is any other law. So then Banka Sneha Sheila in 2021, court said that any detention must satisfy Article 21's due process standards. Okay, and then the historical lineage of this preventive detention. It originates from British colonial rules such as Bengal Regulation of 1818 and also Rowlatt Act of 1919, which is also called as the Anarchical or Revolutionary Act to suppress anarchy or revolutionaries. So Rowlatt Act was the one which introduced preventive detention, which was previously introduced by Bengal regulations. But even after 200 years after 1818, now it is around 2024. Even after 200 years of this introduction of this law, the preventive detention still remains in India. Retained post-independence despite being a colonial rule. In Ekogopalan case in 1950, Supreme Court upheld preventive detention, isolating Article 22 from other fundamental rights. And Maneka Gandhi in 1978 case expanded Article 21 to include fair and just procedure at A.K. Roy in 1982 later reaffirmed the earlier restrictive view, excluding preventive detention from Article 14, 19 and 21, creating constitutional contradiction. Okay, so initially in A.K. Gopalan case, court said that Article 22 has to be kept aside from all the rest of the fundamental rights. In Maneka Gandhi case, what is Maneka Gandhi case? It is expansive, what you say, the rights has to be seen in an expansive way. It should not be seen in a contraction way. Not only the right that is mentioned in the article, but also everything that makes the right meaningful becomes a fundamental right. So under that, they said that under Article 22 also comes under the scrutiny of Article 21. But later in A.K. Roy case said that Article 22 doesn't come under the scrutiny of Article 14, that is right to equality, and Article 15 again right to equality, and Article 19, that is freedom of speech and expression, and Article 21, that is right to life and personal liberty. These three rights are not excluded from this Article 22, or 22 is excluded from these three articles. So the pre-crime problem, that is like the Minority Report of Steven Spielberg, preventive detention punishes people for what they might do, not what they have done. Minority Report is a movie directed by Steven Spielberg, who is one of the greatest directors of modern era. It violates key principles of criminal justice like presumption of innocence, right to be heard, that is audio alterum pattern, and fair trial. The subjective satisfaction of the executive becomes the basis for detention, vulnerable to misuse, especially against the dissenters and political opponents. Next, author's argument. So author here argues that preventive detention has become a police constable constitution tool rather than a constitutional safeguard. Judicial warnings, like in the name, are insufficient without a structural reform. Such powers should be limited to exceptional threats like terrorism, transnational crime, or drug cartel, and never should be used as a routine administrative measure. Okay, next, conclusion. Preventive detention represents a constitutional anomaly, a devil's island separated from the ocean of rights. So unless reined in through judicial and legislative reform, India risks institutionalizing pre-crime framework that erodes liberty, the very core of constitutional promise. So he says that preventive detention has to be used sparingly, has to be used only in extraordinary cases. So that is why preventive detention was originally introduced in the Constitution of India to be used extraordinarily and not for every day-to-day cases. Okay, very important and beautiful points are given in this article. You can note down the points and note down the articles. Next, another article which discusses about India and UK economic partnership. So the editorial reads, an anchor for India-UK ties economic partnership. What is the context? Context is British Prime Minister Keir Starmer is visiting India in October 2025, which marks a new phase in bilateral relations anchored by signing the Comprehensive Economic Trade Agreement, that is CETA, in July 2025. The key agreements under this are CETA, that is Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement, aims to double India-UK trade by 2030. What does India gain? It gains lower tariffs on exports like textiles, pharma and agriculture. And what does UK gain? Reduced duties on whiskey, automobiles and machinery. It focuses on market access plus strategic cooperation. Then double contributions conventions exempts India's professionals or Indian professionals from paying double social security in UK for 3 years. It boosts talent mobility and lower business cost. Then bilateral investment treaty, which is under negotiation, will enhance UK investment, which is currently 5% in India's FTA, which is going to increase this investment and also encourages collaboration in manufacturing, services and technology. Next is the strategic cooperation framework, which is the very important framework for India to the Vision 2035. So the Vision 2035 roadmap, which focuses on defense, technology, education, mobility and climate action. Next, defense industrial roadmap 2025, joint research and development and co-production of platforms. Then technology security initiative, that is TSI 2024, collaboration on AI, quantum tech, semiconductors and critical minerals. Next is broader significance. This strengthens India's role in global value chain amid shifting trade blocs. For the UK, it provides a gateway to Indo-Pacific markets, green finance and digital innovation. And for India, it provides access to advanced tech investment and European market. So both are winners here. The conclusion is CETA and Starmer's visit mark next generation partnership which combines trade liberalization, sustainable investment, tech collaboration and mobility. Together, India and UK aim to shape a resilient, open and tech-driven global order. So very important article with the beautiful points. Next, prelims pointer. The first article in prelims pointer is about IAF marks 93rd anniversary at the Hindon base. What is this? The Indian Air Force celebrated 93rd anniversary on October 8, 2025 with the ceremonial parade at Hindon Air Force Station, Ghaziabad. The event highlights IAF's legacy, operational excellence and commitment to innovation and self-resilience. The key highlights were Chief guest was Air Chief Marshal Amarpreet Singh, Chief of the Air Staff, reviewed the parade and attended by CDS General Anil Chauhan and Army and Navy Chiefs as well. President Draupadi Murmu and Prime Minister Narendra Modi extended greetings online, and parade commander was the Group Captain Chetan Pradeep Deshpande. And flypast was the 3 Mi-17A1 1V helicopters and Dwaja formation carrying national, IAF and Operation Sindoor flags. Awards, that 97 air warriors and 6 units received citations as for their exceptional service. So this is about IAF's 93rd anniversary, which marks the induction of IAF into Indian Army, Indian military. Next, Chief of Air Staff marks, that is Chief Air Marshal Singh said that IAF had grown from humble beginnings to become 4th largest air force in the world, capable of influencing outcomes with speed and precision. He affirmed confidence in indigenous platforms and the motto, that is train like we fight. The displays and modernization, the displays were Heritage Flight, Tiger Moth, HD-2 and Harvard aircraft showcasing IAF's evolution, and strategic display of Rafale, Su-30 MKI, Apache and MiG-29, C-17 Global Master and C-130Z Akash missile system reflecting India's growing power and indigenization. So that is about 93rd anniversary of Indian Air Force. Next, India to boost solar pump scheme in Africa and Iceland nations. What is the news? The news is Union Minister for Renewable Energy Prahlad Joshi announced that India will showcase that the PM Kusum and PM Suryagar programs to the African countries and the small island nations through International Solar Alliance. So International Solar Alliance is an international alliance on solar technologies with the headquarters at Gurugram. It was the initiative of India and France in Paris Climate Agreement of 2015. Okay, next, the goal is to replicate India's decentralized solar models. The nations are struggling with electric connectivity. So the key points is this move is part of India's efforts to position itself as a leader in climate action and solar diplomacy and rural renewable energy solutions. Both schemes focus on decentralized, farmer-friendly, and off-grid solar systems to boost energy security and reduce emissions. India plans to highlight these at the 8th ISA General Assembly later this month. So, PM Kusum. What is PM Kusum? PM Kusum is Pradhan Mantri Kisan Urja Suraksha Evam Uttam Mahabhiyan. It was launched in 2019 with a budget of 34,000 crore. Objective was to promote solar power generation in the rural areas, reduce farmer dependence on diesel and electric pumps, enable farmers to sell surplus solar power to the grid, creating an extra income source. Targets is install 100 gigawatt of solar power capacity in the farmers' land, provide 17.5 lakh standalone solar pumps, and target extended 348 gigawatt by March 2026 after various delays. Progress as of September 2025, around 70% of the standalone solar pumps are installed now, 6% of the decentralized plants, and 16 to 25% of the grid connected pumps completed. So this is about PM Kusum. And what is PM Suryaghar? Muft Bijli Yojana, that is a rooftop solar scheme. It was launched in February 2024. Aim is to provide free electricity up to 300 units per month to 1 crore households via rooftop solar installations. What are the key features? Households receive subsidies up to 60% for rooftop panels, promotes energy independence and reduces grid burden, encourages urban and semi-urban adoption of solar power, and the significance is supports India's target of 500 gigawatt of renewable energy capacity by 2030, which is part of Panchamitra. Okay. Next, promotes Har Ghar Surya Vision, solar energy for every home. So this is about prelims pointers. So this covers all the important articles for the day. I think I've covered these holistically. So if you like the video, then please hit the like button, comment on it, and also share with your friends. And if you want any other topics to be discussed in the classes or in the videos, write down the comment box as well. We'll bring videos with regard to that. With this, I will end the video. Jai Hind, Jai Karnataka.